Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
So we did it. We broke the record. 27 straight losses for the Pistons. That's rough. As Pistons fans, we're the butt of every joke too. I had some friends tell me we need to hang the banner because of the record. Some people said we were actually breaking records. I guess that's good. And then we'll talk about this in a second, but my phone keeps alerting me the Pistons are interested, now targeting free agents, Siakam, OG, Harris, and Bridges. And we'll talk about that in a second. Before we were interested in trading for them, maybe we still are, who knows? I'll talk about that in a second. But it's kind of sad and disappointing that we are here. But it's really what the organization has deserved. Not fans, not the players, but the organization. The moves that they have made, some of them have been good, but overall, they haven't been that great. And in specific, the Monty Williams hiring, which I tried to tell fans, just warn them to be cautiously optimistic. I already mentioned this when I talked about my 25-game losing streak. I was worried about Monty Williams. He wasn't a winning head coach without Chris Paul. He won one season without Chris Paul. One season, a winning record. He had Anthony Davis, Eric Gordon, and Drew Holiday on the team, and he had one winning season without Chris Paul. One. Part of me is like, well, we should just trade for Chris Paul because maybe we'll actually win a game. That's part of my feelings right now. By the way, this is the Box Score Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. I just want to go ahead and talk a little bit about this record and some of the notifications I've been getting about the Pistons. And why I think it's kind of silly at this point to be doing anything, but we have to do something. But what? So we'll talk about that in a second. But when Monty Williams was hired, and I talked about not only his winning record with Chris Paul and his losing record without Chris Paul, but also I talked about his developmental skills. Like Mikal Bridges looks so much better as a net than he did as Sun. How wasn't Monty Williams able to unlock that? Look what happened with Ayton. And I expressed these concerns. A lot of fans were like, you don't know ball. That's the saying they like to use. You don't know ball nowadays. It's like, I know as much as you do. We both are just trying to make an object observation of the decisions our favorite team made. I'm not as big on it as you are, which is fine because I hope you're right, because I don't want to be right, but these are my concerns. And everything that I mention has proven to be right about Monty Williams so far. The way he's done Ivy wrong. I mean, if you watched the game last night that the Pistons almost won, like, They had Ivy, he ran down the court. There was less than a minute, maybe 2 minutes left. He drove the lane. He sucked everybody in. He kicked it out to Cade. Cade had a wide open three. That is the player that Jaden Ivey is. That's something he provides that very few players in the NBA can provide. So to me, I don't understand why he wasn't starting. And then when he wasn't starting, when he was coming off the bench, I said that was a little bit of a red flag. I put it on Twitter. Guess what? A lot of people are like, you don't know ball. Why is that even like an argument? That isn't even a little, like a valid discussion point. You don't know ball. Like, tell me why. Why am I wrong? Well, he can play 30 minutes off the bench. The guy started 64 games last year, something like that, 74 games. And he is our 5th overall pick. He's 2 years into the league. This is the 2nd year into the league. He should be starting him and Cade together. That should be like the whole point of this team should be developing Ivy and Cade and Duren as the big three of the team, so to speak, right? The big three. There's no reason why he shouldn't be starting. And I said it was a red flag. And I don't know, ball, whatever. So now that he's starting, Cade's looking better, right? And it doesn't mean like they won't make mistakes. They're young. They're both pretty young players. They're both essentially both of them are in their 2nd season. But I just it's frustrating because this is the point we are in because of the decision of the owner, because of the decision of the GM and the coaches. I don't even know if Troy Weaver wanted Monty Williams. I think that was a Tom Gore hiring, which was also a red flag that you had to throw so much money at this dude. So overall, this is a very disappointing time for Piston fans. The game, I didn't understand the last shot that Alec Burks took. Why did we draw up a play not for Cade Cunningham? Why didn't we try to get him open, him the ball? And why did we like shoot the ball so quickly? Like you passed it into Burks and he shot it against a double team. And it's like, why in the world? We were only down 5. We had, I think, 38 seconds left, and that's the play we ran with. I don't like whatever, but that's what $80 million of coaching gets you. That play, like, let's give it to our veteran players. See, here's the thing with Monty. Might not be a bad coach. I'm not going to sit there and say he's an atrocious coach. I think he's a good coach, maybe with players that are 27, 28 years old, and like Devin Booker, right? Like Mikal Bridges, like Cam Johnson, so to speak, like, right? Like he's good with those type of players. He's not good with young developing players. He's just not. He doesn't know how to develop them. He can see what they're good at and put them in the right position. He can't develop them. That's my opinion. That's what I've seen from him. And it seems to be what's happening with Detroit. And that's why I didn't like him as a hire, because I felt like they should have hired a coach that could develop these players a little better. And that is not something that Monty does. Troy Weaver, he needs some of the blame. This team, like, I actually like the pieces, and I hate when people are like, well, we have a lot of pieces, but they don't fit together. It's like, dude, they can fit together. You need the right person putting them together as well. But at the same time, we have seen Troy Weaver make mistakes and double down on things that it just makes no sense, whether it's saying Bogdanovich is part of our future, or when he said the same thing about Jeremy Grant after the first season and he wouldn't trade him for picks. He's saying the same thing about Bogdanovich. I don't get that. You trade your assets for more picks so you can make a move in the future when your team's ready to win. The trading of Sadiq Bey. Now, I didn't mind getting James Wiseman. I didn't understand why we had to give up Bey and not get anything but Wiseman. That's the only part I don't understand about that trade. But if you're going to get Wiseman, you got to play Wiseman. But Duren had a great year. So it's like, I don't know. It's so confusing, some of the moves that Weaver has made and has not made. I like the Monte Morris signing, but he hasn't played, which makes you question, like, would he even be able to play or would Ivy be like the 18th person off the bench if everybody was healthy? Because that also blew my mind. Like, why are we here? I don't get it. Whatever. But now they're talking about going after these forwards, and I wanted to kind of hit on this real quick because the thing about this is this targeting this year. I don't understand. Number one, why would you want Siakam? Why would you want Siakam? He's going to be a free agent, right? So we have to have the guarantee we're going to re-sign him. He's shooting a career low right now. Well, not career. I don't know if it's a career low, but it's definitely a low of 24% from the 3-point line. So we want to add another person who can't shoot on this team. I don't want Siakam. Anunoby, be great. I would love Anunoby next to Cade and Ivy. The problem is, he he's going to cost too much. We don't have enough assets to give to him. So even though we don't really have depth, what we would have to trade to get Anunoby would get rid of him. We'd have zero. It would basically be like Cade, probably Cade, Duren, and Anunoby. Ivy would be one of the guys probably traded in that deal. Maybe we'd have a SAR, but you'd have to give up picks. I don't know what picks we have. We don't even own our future pick until like 2026 or something like that. It goes to the Knicks. Unless if we get that, those restrictions lifted, it doesn't matter. The one that kind of makes sense, even though I don't like it, is Bridges, because he's going to be cheap. He's going to be super cheap. What would we have to, like, Bogdanovich and someone else? Like, and Bridges is a solid defender, and he can play on the offensive side of the ball. He would actually fit this team. I don't want him, mainly because he's only one more incident away from not being in the league. But it's like that would be the most logical guy because he doesn't cost a lot. But does Weaver even want him? Does Monty Williams even want him? I don't know. But I don't even understand why you would do this trade because it's not going to save your season. So unless you're guaranteed you can extend the player, it doesn't make sense to do it this season. You'd have to wait till after the season's done. That's at the point the Pistons are at. That's how sad of a state, winning only 2 games, being what, 2 and whatever we are. I don't even know. We won 2 games. We lost it. You know, John Morant has won more games than the Pistons, and he's only played 4 games, and he's won all 4. It's just whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to come on, give my quick thoughts of the Pistons breaking the record. How disappointing. Personally, I think at this point, we should just keep losing until Monty Williams is fired. That's what I'm kind of hoping. I know that sounds dark and grim, but Monty will be fine. He will still have his contract guaranteed. I don't think Tom Gore will actually do that, but that's the best case scenario in my mind right now. Let's get a young coach or a coach that works well with young players in there for the rest of the season. So that's how I feel right now. Because we're going to be the worst team regardless of any changes we make. So that's where I'm at. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the Pistons losing streak. What should they do? What shouldn't they do? This offseason, we might get a couple pieces. That's awesome. But it doesn't help us this season. I say continue the losing streak until Monty's fired. Anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe, like the video, leave a comment down below. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.